Welcome to Global Insider Talks and to what we hope will be an intriguing interview with one of the most influential international businessmen we've spoken to so far for this series. Our guest today works with the public and private sectors to promote new and expanded business relations between U.S. and Qatari companies. Based in Washington, D.C., he's involved with and directs all activities of his organization and is principally focused on advancing business, investment, and trade in the United States. I'm Jeff Smith, Chief Operating Officer of Factum Global, and today I have the pleasure of introducing you to Mohammed Barakat, Managing Director and Treasurer of the Board of Directors of the U.S. Qatar Business Council. You will learn more about what makes this council so important during our interview today. Mohammed, welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate you and appreciate having me here today.
Thanks so much for joining us. By way of introduction, Mohammed, can you please tell our audience more about the U.S. Qatar Business Council and explain your mission in supporting U.S. companies seeking to do business in Qatar?
Of course. So the U.S. Qatar Business Council is basically a trade association. The major focus of the council is to help and promote American companies to do business internationally. In our case, we focus on helping and assisting in doing more business with Qatar. Several initiatives that includes enhancing the exports from the United States to Qatar, finding business opportunities for these companies in Qatar, providing services or selling goods, and at the same time, some of these companies that might be looking to do some investments there that could have a good return on them. The council operate across industries. Initially, when the council was founded in 1996, it's been many years, there was a major focus on the oil and gas, but currently the focus on all industries, infrastructure, financial, information technology, of course, oil and gas, defense, security, and so on. Many American companies are in the market. There's a lot of products flow towards Qatar, and we always see opportunities that we can help American companies achieve and expand their engagement. It helps the companies, it helps the economies that they operate in as well in the United States. And we take that to the next stage, hopefully, allowing them to operate and do more with the state of Qatar. And then generally, once you enter that region and you start doing business internationally, a lot of these companies starts going to other countries as well.
Right. Well, clearly the resources that you have at the council helping U.S. companies expand into this new market are priceless. Expanding into any market around the world is complicated. Qatar is just another market, and there are complications and issues that maybe American companies are unaware of. So the council really does provide great resources. Could you give some examples, maybe exactly on how the council helps U.S. businesses penetrate the Qatari market? Like, you had some great examples that you shared with me earlier. Maybe you have a few anecdotes on how you've worked with companies?
Yes. So let me give you initially how we engage with these American companies, and I'll give you some examples. So initially, when we go around the United States, we approach companies that we might feel that have potential business internationally, in this case with the state of Qatar, either a product or service that from our analysis or our engagement in Qatar, we understand that these products or services are needed. So we approach them or we do presentations and we have them attend that. And then we engage with them. We understand their product. We will never take a company to a new market, in this case, Qatar, if we don't feel that they have a solid ground. So we engage with them on that first level. We understand their product, we understand their service, what do they do? We find that opportunity for them. And then the next stage is starting connecting them to potential partners or potential buyers in Qatar, as well any potential engagements that they might have in the market. And we will work with them. We're a non-for-profit entity, so our interest is just promoting that entry into the market or that sale. We put them with different partners in there. Some cases, if these projects with the government, we introduce them to the appropriate entities, and then we help them through the process when it comes to understanding the legality of the process. What do they need to do? What does it mean to export? Any requirements to establish a presence in the country if they need to? what is the regulations of a foreign engagements in the state of Qatar, and so on, so they can understand the whole process from A to Z. And hopefully we'll see them completing that sale or that engagement in the market. Now, as an example, I'll give you an example. We had a company a while ago that they had a product and they wanted to engage with the state of Qatar. And I remember this company at the early stages, when they engaged with the council, they were very small. They're a very small company. They have limited fund. We worked with them before even sending them to Qatar, slowly on a step-by-step basis. We didn't even ask them to have a heavy investments in there. I don't want to mention the company name, but they had cosmetics that they could sell, some accessories, and they had stores, and they have specific ideas. It was phenomenal. So we worked with them into finding an appropriate partner. They met with few partners. Some of them actually, they met them in New York because they were here. And then, within 6 to 7 months, they started expanding with their, in this case, Qatari partner. They opened stores in there, and then it picked up. And honestly, it was amazing to see their stores. For me personally, I was in Qatar one time and I was walking in a mall and I saw this major store there that has their name. And I remember meeting these guys in our offices and how small it was. And now their brand are everywhere. And actually, after that fact, they're also now operating in the UAE. And I think they're establishing presence in many other regional market. But that start was interesting. And just to see the element of it. At the beginning of it, the company was, as I said, small, very small company. I think there was like 5 people, plus, of course, the manufacturing and so on. But the operation was 5 people. But today, the company is valued as $1 billion company. So
wow.
It's phenomenal to see how the international expansion actually drove them into many, many new market and just raised the value of the company. So these stories honestly brings joy to us when we see these companies there and see how much they brought in and how much, potentially how many jobs they created in the process because they manufacture a specific product.
Right. And so from the very early days there, if I'm a business owner and I'm coming to you, do I pay a fee to work with you, or how does that engagement work? I mean, you mentioned the council is a nonprofit,
right?
But
so we're a membership-based organization.
Okay.
As a chamber, we operate with our member fees that we charge annually to help these companies. The fee is not that big of a fee, but it covers a full year of services, consulting hours, working with them, but also the council, beside the direct one-on-one services that we offer to the companies, we offer also the events, the presentations, the engagements. And these events are very helpful because sometimes I don't want you to travel 6,000 miles to find a business opportunity. Why not meet some of these entities when they're in the United States, or when we invite some of them to the United States to meet with the American companies? We engage with them, but sometimes it's an American to American company. An American company could be already doing business in Qatar, and another American companies could engage with them through one of
a partnership.
That funds us, and there's the sponsorship. Sometimes big companies like to sponsor our events, so that's how we're funded. But I want to say one important part.
Yes,
we don't start by saying pay to play. In this case, we usually engage the companies at the early stages by understanding them, knowing if there is a value and that we can offer to them. If we feel there is a value and we can deliver and they have a real solid product or service or so on, then we will say, all right, let's now, get into the idea of a membership. So we do some work in advance because we don't want you to just engage and then find out that there is no potential. No, we want to make sure you have solids and then move on.
It's almost like pre-qualifying, so to speak. Yeah,
exactly.
And in terms of the market intelligence, it sounds like making connections is one of the biggest assets for membership here. In terms of the market intelligence that you provide, what is it that you're telling U.S. business executives that they need to understand about doing business in Qatar?
So it ranges and depends on the industry, of course, Jeff, in this case. But mostly our relationships across the industries in Qatar and also in the United States with the companies that they're doing business there. We understand the business environment. We keep updated all the time about any changes and regulations, what incentives are there, what's
Right.
being offered, what's the plans in the next 5 or 10 years in many ways. Our engagement as well with very high level officials in Qatar when it comes
Sure.
to trying to advance the interests of the Americans. We get to know a lot of information on how, on where, which sectors we need to focus on. What's the sectors that the Qataris are going to invest in Qatar itself, so American companies could be partner. One other side that we might have mentioned, even though we don't do much on it, but we also try to help and Qatari investments coming into the
Sure.
United States, specifically from private sector. If they want to identify an entity or buy a company or so on, we try to help them there as well. So that information, that sometimes the third party asking questions on behalf of the American corporations is helpful, because sometimes companies don't want to ask the question themselves. They
Right.
want us to ask the question, and then we kind of like use that information to share it with everyone.
Have you noticed, obviously, the World Cup was recently hosted in Qatar just last year. Have you noticed a real uptick in activity, in interest, in membership? What's the latest?
So the interest, yes, definitely. The World Cup have put a huge spotlight on Qatar. That allow people to see the country, the investments. But honestly, also the American businesses have seen the success that other American businesses achieved in Qatar during that, I think, 10 or 12 years process when Qatar achieved their World Cup. And so there's a lot of interest in the market. There's a lot of interest in going to Qatar because they saw it on TV almost every day for 30 days. So there's a lot of, even on and I would say also the small and medium-sized business, big corporations that always knew what's in Qatar, right? Because they're there, but
Right.
also they want to enhance it and expand it. The small and medium-sized companies, we see more interest in them coming into Qatar. Some of them to either secure investments, but on the other side, some of them to sell product or provide a service. Qatar has announced many other conferences, major sporting events that will be hosting in the next 5 years. So now companies looking at this and they're saying, okay, well, they actually did deliver on this big major event. Now they're going to need new things, and that's where we can fit. So there is an interest there, but there's also a different level of engagement where there's an understanding of what Qatar has building up, kind of like, becoming red hot interest, like fintech, financial. They're passing a lot of regulations that could help esports and so on. These things are gearing interest because, again, now the country is known. Everyone knows the stable economy. They have money. They have interest in investing and having partnerships. So that raised that. Yes, in the other side, we did see a lot of companies reaching out to the council, inquiring about opportunities, understanding our membership and so on. And hopefully these things slowly will materialize in more membership.
Time. Yeah, and you mentioned some of the emerging industries in Qatar that American companies are finding opportunities in. You mentioned the legacy the energy sector, which has always been there. You mentioned to me earlier entertainment, media, tourism. These are other industries that are sort of bubbling up as premier industries to take advantage of and find real growth opportunities. Mohammed, we're almost at the end of our time. I want to leave you the last word. Tell us, if I'm thinking about possibly expanding my business to Qatar, what should I be thinking about?
So first of all, I would say reach out to the council. So you can get a full understanding on where do you fit, what's the bigger picture, how long could it take you to achieve that mission, and potentially engage with the market. And then we'll take it step by step from there. But the most important thing is, and I would say across the board with the international engagement, is things takes time, and companies needs to be patient when engaging with foreign markets, because you want something to be ripe and right. rather than quick and not getting fruitful results. So start by contacting us. As an entity that focus on helping the American companies, we'll be more than happy to give you all the information. We do have developed as well a business portal that the council has, portal.usqbc.org, that provides a lot of information about the Qatari market, even information about the 50 United States. So you get information also about the United States that will give you a good start. A lot of information there to start with, and then might give you an idea on, all right, this is what I want to do. Let me reach out to the council, and we'll hopefully help you engage and do more international business and grow your business in the United States.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mohammed. An incredible resource for US-based companies seeking business opportunities in Qatar. We really appreciate your time. Let's leave it here for today. And thank you very much for joining us. Please visit factumglobal.com for more information about our Global Insider Talks interview series and more about our services. And thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jeff.